What you've mended in this one? To the pocket, is it?
No.
No.
What's wrong with it?
I don't know.
Does it look perfectly fine?
Yeah, it looks fine. Oh, the hem? You fixing the hem?
Yes.
Yay! Go me! Hi, this is Phil at Clobber Creations, and today Chloe's going to be discussing mending clothes. In fact, she's going to focus on how to repair hem on one of her dresses.
Okay, so thank you to Phil for his introduction. So yes, I am fixing this dress. It's been in my repair pile for a while. Part of my 2020 goals, sewing wise, is to actually repair items of clothing and accessories which need fixing, and this is one of them. So this is a sort of tunic dress, something I shop bought many years ago, and it's made in a knit fabric. But the problem I have is that the hems come away at the bottom. It looks like they used a blind hem stitch. So instead of trying to do a zigzag stitch or twin needle, or I do have a cover stitch machine which would probably be the most professional looking finish, but there was never any stitching really visible on the outside when the original stitching was present. There's a tiny bit of it left, which is how I've worked out how they did it. And yeah, you can't see the stitching on the outside. So what I'm going to do is actually learn how to use the blind hem stitch on my regular sewing machine. And I thought I'd share that in today's video. Now, it's worth bearing in mind that I am using black thread, and this garment is predominantly black, so it may not show that well. So perhaps I'll add in some clips of how to use the blind hem foot with contrast fabric, just to show how the stitch works, because theoretically you shouldn't be able to see it on this because I'm mending it. As always, if you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I have my machine pre-threaded here, so I've got black thread in the bobbin, I've got black thread in the spool at the top, and I've put what I believe to be the blind hem foot on. So it's got a little gauge at the side which you can move with this dial on the right hand side. So I've moved it to where I think it should work okay. So the advantage with this shop bought item is that it's got a very distinctly pressed hem already, so that hasn't disappeared. So I don't need to go to my iron and press that. In order to create this blind hem, what I'm going to do is, with the inside of the dress showing, so I can see all the seams on the inside, I'm then going to flip the pressed hem over so that I've now got a fold, but I'm going to leave enough of that actual edge showing on the side, so the overlocked edge is still there. Then I've got a bit of fabric, and then I've got the folded edge next to it. So I'm probably going to start a bit over from that seam there, because I might find that a bit too tricky to get over. And I'm going to leave a little gap, just because I'm worried that if I don't leave enough of an edge here, the stitching might go off the side, and I want it to still pick up on the machine. So for my machine, I've got the Super Jeans 34. On this machine it's number 9, but essentially you're creating a line of stitching which will be on this single layer of fabric here, but then the odd stitch will just catch onto the folded bit of fabric to secure it, and then you'll do a couple more stitches on this bit, then it will catch again, which will theoretically give it a blind hem. But you do need to make sure that it only just catches on the fold of the fabric, so that's where I might need to test it, and it may be a bit of trial and error. I've put quite a wide stitch length on here, so I've put, it's nearly 3 on my machine, just because it is a fairly thick knit fabric, but I'm going to see how it goes. It might be that this is a too wide a stitch. I can't adjust the width on my machine for this, so hopefully it should be fine. Okay, I've had a quick go. I think it might be a bit too far over, so I'm going to roll so that this gauge moves a bit over, so this should push this fabric so it's not as far over, which should mean that the stitch isn't so far in and should not be as visible on the other side. Okay, so I've gone all the way around now. I'm really happy with that hem result. It's funny because I've never really thought about using a blind hem on a knit fabric, but having had a look up, it looks like it is a good alternative if you don't want a visible hem, and especially with this sort of fabric, you know, even the slight stitch doesn't show through, even when I haven't done it. Even when I've done it so that it's a bit more visible, because I'm still learning how to do the stitch. On this it's very forgiving because it's such a busy pattern. But that's great, so that should secure it now. I should be able to wear it again, because that was all that was stopping me wearing this. So I'm going to give it a quick press just to press it back down properly, but it looks like it's nice and secure again. Just in case you couldn't see what I was doing, I've got a bit of the scrap of the red terry cloth that's going absolutely everywhere. So say this was the hem, so if I'd pressed up that amount, so I've got my folded up hem here, but I want it as a blind hem, I'd then press that bit underneath but have a bit of that raw edge showing. I will then line this folded section where that gauge is if you've got this, otherwise I guess you just put it fairly in the middle. And then, yeah, if you've got it on the blind hem stitch, it should then so you can see it's visible on the inside. It's a bit hard to tell on this terry cloth, to be honest, and you can see it where I've stitched it with it folded over, but on the outside it's not really visible at all. You can see the odd catch, and that is because I have used a black thread on purpose to show. So depending how much that little zigzag stitch juts out into your fabric will determine how long the blind hem shows, how long that stitch shows on the outside. Okay, so that's my dress all repaired. So as you can see, the hem does look pretty much invisible. You can kind of see a slight indent where the stitches have been added, but it's probably where the ones where I've stitched a bit too far over into that fold, and I think with time and practice I could make a much better job of this, but because this fabric is so busy I'm not going to undo it on this occasion, but perhaps next time the hem goes I will be a lot better at it. So yeah, I've just given it a bit of a press. So I've never used the blind hem foot or used the blind hem function at all on my machine, and I'm pleased to say it wasn't as difficult as I thought it would be, so I would recommend it. And it looks like it does work quite well with knits as well, which I wasn't aware of, but looking online it does look like it is a good option if you do want to use it for that. So that's it for this week. Thanks for watching.